The next item on the agenda is a request for restriping. Tommy Kalavic, 1316 Ohio Street, is requesting Ohio Street between 11th Street and Garfield Street to be restriped. Tommy Kalavic, 1316 Ohio Street. I'm requesting that the Ohio Street be restriped from 11th Street to Garfield Street as it was done in 2015. Wednesday afternoon, 3:18 p.m., I had another accident at my intersection. I do have video from my ring floodlight camera that I put up that I'd like to have shown. I was out mowing the lawn at the time. You can see the striping that was put down in 2015 has been totally vanished.
Took his headlight off.
Yeah, the hubcap came almost flying and almost hit me. It hit the curb. Here I am on my mower. I do have a little bit of testimony I'd like to give as far as the history of that. In 2015, Reese Riley Construction resurfaced Ohio Street between Ohio and Garfield. And that was in May of 2015. And the whole summer went by, and it wasn't never striped. It was just all blacktop. So I contacted late Mr. Keith Harris, who was a candidate for second ward councilman at the time, and I asked him why was it resurfaced but not striped. And he said he was going to talk to the city engineer at the time, Mr. Spike Peller. And he talked to Mr. Peller, and apparently Mr. Peller talked to Mayor Muir. And 2 days later, a company, it was called Air Marking Incorporated out of Rochester, Indiana. 2 days later, they came here with their machine and they striped it. I actually later learned from a gentleman who's a retired local 150 operating engineer that the road paving and the road striping are two separate contracts. And he gave an analogy of when you deal with the tree service. And when you have a tree removed, they'll cut down the tree, they'll remove the tree, they'll haul off all the brush. But when it comes to the stump removal, you either have to contract with the tree service extra or contract with somebody else, or you have to remove the stump yourself. And that's similar to the road paving and the road striping. I'd like to further add that 1 block north of my residence at Warren Street and Ohio Street is where the school bus picks up the Michigan City area elementary, middle school, and high school students to and from school. 1302 at the opposite end of my block at 1302 Ohio Street is the location where Miss Kiki Davis and her mother, Miss Bev Davis, they own and operate the Hearts and Hands Child Care Service. Michigan City Fire Station is located 3 blocks north of my residence at 11th and Ohio Street. It's on the former Garfield Elementary School property. Ohio Street is a LaPorte County Emergency Medical Service ambulance route for the new Franciscan Health Michigan City Hospital. Mayor Perry had to talk about this. But the Gardner Group study in 1966 projected that Ohio Street was supposed to be a dual lane road, which never happened. When I also had some, there's been a lot of tragedy on that block. In 2004, there was a very, very, I'm sure a lot of recall this, a very bad crime scene. It involved a stabbing, a school bus stop shooting. There was then there was a police officer got shot, and there was the man committed suicide, set the house on fire and committed suicide. The 4 officers, they went on the guy because it happened at the time that the students were waiting to catch the school bus. And Sergeant Zumak, he's got a dimple right here in his cheek where he got shot. He still has his slug lodge in his spinal cord. I'm sure if you talk to Councilman Gene Simmons about that, he recalls that because he was the police chief at the time and he had to investigate all that. But I'd just like to have the road restriped like it was in 2015. Thank you. Brad, did you want to address this?
Yes, I can. So it's cool to have the work done. I believe the city does some of their inspecting as well. But
thank you.
everyone. Sean Smith, Mission City Street Director. The city does small scale striping. We're talking like a block or two at a time. Ohio Street, I believe, is 6 lane miles on one way, so that's a total of 12 miles. Company contractors like Airmark, they use different type of long-lasting paint. It's basically thermoplastic acrylic paint. The city uses water-based latex, which is only temporary, lasts maybe 1 to 2 years. But I do, agree with Mr. Kalakovich that Ohio Street actually, we should stripe it all the way to 20. I think 11th Street down to 20. But that would require estimates. So,
Any additional comment from the public?
I wait for
You can come up.
for Mr. Minnick to. Are you going to provide another comment?
I'm next, Mr. Don Pribulinski. I'm next before you.
I'll wait till all the comments are done and
We're in public comments, right?
Yep.
I know I'm late. I had
No, they were on my request.
Councilman Bryant Datley informed me too, but I did have a few comments about HDD, but I know there's going to be a workshop. So if you could just please include me on that. I just want to make sure that it moves back into engineering of some sort. It goes to some engineering, whether it's sanitary district or engineering firm that we've selected. But I know, just as a former employee of NIPSCO and working with horizontal drilling and some of those things, that it really should be in the hands of an engineer and not the clerk's office. So thank you, and just include me in that workshop whenever you have it. Thank you.
I certainly will when I call that workshop.
Good morning, Board. Councilman Don Pribulinski, 215 Gardena Street. In a reference to what Mr. Kalavik's saying, besides Ohio Street, which I totally agree needs to be restriped, the other major thoroughfares in Michigan City are in dire need of restriping. So if we're going to look at Ohio Street, I think we need to go out and get a package bid. Franklin Street needs to be restriped. I believe Michigan Boulevard needs to be restriped. All these major thoroughfares need to be restriped. We just can't pick out one. We should look at them all and get it all done and be done with it. If we're talking about traffic safety, we got to look at traffic safety throughout the whole community, not just on Ohio Street. But I agree that needs to be done. I'm glad that Mr. Klavik is still here this morning sitting with us. He was looking at that video and seeing what happened there, and that's Tommy riding on the riding lawnmower. I mean, that could have been very, very bad, but glad you're here, Tom. All right. But anyway, I'm suggesting we go out and do a major inventory of the streets, and the major thoroughfares need to be restriped. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion on Mr. Kalavik's petition?
I'll make a motion we restripe. But I would like to ask for a Michigan City Police Department study of that area, because I'm not sure that restriping is just restriping is enough to prevent an accident. We may need some traffic control in that area. So I asked MCPD to do a traffic study there.
And Brad, you have some comment?
Yeah, please.
just a suggestion about packaging the work. As Tommy alluded to, there's different ways to do it, but my suggestion would be to, when the inventory is complete, couple it with community crossings. Whether it's funded with community crossings or not, that'd be a question for John Doyle, because he's researching that package and that grant. But that would be the time to do it when there's other paving that's going on, because there's striping to be done with that paving as well. So that would be a good opportunity that you would have some value there with the other work in that contract.
Absolutely. Last thing we're going to do is restripe it, and a month later, black restriped area.
Question, Madam Chair. At this point, with new discussion
question, are we wise to approve a restriping of just one street at this point, or turn it over to the city department and engineering for a carte blanche? As Councilman Prespolinski noted, there are many other streets that need it. And we all know piecemealing something is far more expensive than getting it all done when it needs to be.
Excellent point, Mr. Vincent. I will withdraw my motion.
What do you wanna do with this?
Let's table it for one meeting, and hopefully in that 2-week period, we can get the result of MCPD traffic study.
And an inventory of other streets
And an
needed,
inventory of
paving
other streets.
projects.
Yes.
And are you going to, also include in your motion that you're going to refer this, Mr. Brown?
That, I will make that motion, but that's contingent upon the council approving his contract tomorrow night. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Gary.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda is a payroll docket for August 1st, 2022, city payroll